So Transformers by Daniel Warren is officially outselling Batman, or at least it was at one point this year. And look, I'm not some massive Transformers fan. I enjoyed the Michael Bay films for 14-year-old boy reasons.
He hates it.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with, females working on my engine. I prefer it, actually.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I enjoyed the action sequences for 12-year-old boy reasons. And I loved the epic nature of those films. The size and scope of those films truly felt like this out-of-a-world experience for at least the first 2 or 3 films. But that was it. They were just massive blockbuster sci-fi films that had a lot of fun and wit about them, but really played to the teenager of those times and didn't really try to do anything that deep with the lore and the world building or any of its characters. It was a popcorn blockbuster film. But this particular run of the comic books did something unexpected. They turned a child's plastic toy into a story that reflects on the nature of war and the exhaustion and grief that comes with it. And when you first pick up this comic book, one of the first things that you're going to notice is how the humans in this story actually serve a purpose and matter, and you are going to be invested in their experiences and what they go through as people. And I haven't cared this much about a human in a Transformers story since literally Sam Witwicky. But I will give credit to Rise of the Beasts for really trying to step up the plate and deliver on getting us invested in their characters. Let's take Sam Witwicky's father, who is a central character in this story. He's not just some middle-class suburban dad, he's actually a war veteran suffering with PTSD and the loss and grief of his wife and one of his 2 sons. Side note, so those last 2 points are actually just implied within the story. They haven't actually explicitly explained what's happened to Sam's brother and Sam's mum. It's just more or less hinted at the start of the story. So if it is explained in the next arc, I don't know yet because I just haven't read that arc yet. You also have Carly, who goes through her own journey in this story after the loss of her father by the Decepticons. Oh, and we're going to get to this panel in a minute. All of these characters play a significant part in dealing with the loss of somebody close to them in their family, and they all suffer through those experiences together in a way that's kind of like trauma bonding, but done with the scope and nature of a Transformers comic book.
Come on, give me a little tap. Give me a little tap. There you go.
And all of what they go through goes to reflect and parallel to what the Transformers themselves have been experiencing in their own war that's been raging for over 100 years. A really great moment that I'm going to spoil for you guys, so spoiler warning, but there's this one moment in the comic books where Sam ultimately gets shot and sent into the ICU. He gets put into intensive care and he's almost on the brink of death himself. This goes and turns his dad into a rabbit hole of just tremendous grief and mental health issues because he's now losing the last family member in his life. And then you have Optimus Prime, who has witnessed so much death and so much destruction that he ends up helping in whatever way he can after the Decepticons nearly obliterate and demolish the hospital. So Optimus steps up and he uses his Energon, aka his own life source, in order to revitalize and bring back electricity to the hospital. And as a consequence of his actions, Optimus can no longer use that same trick to bring back his fallen comrades because it will ultimately end in his death, which he can't do because he is the last leader of the Autobots. Sorry, but we need to interrupt this video to remind you very quietly that this is a child's toy for 8-year-olds and 12.
As Earth vehicles, Optimus Prime and the heroic Autobots have the power to protect the world from the destruction of the Decepticons. The battle's beginning. Which side are you on?
But I guess, I don't know. I mean, are people still doing that? Is it still a thing? Are people still buying the toys, or are they just collectibles now for us geeky adults? Is that a thing? I don't know. Anyway, see, the main plot in this story is that the Autobots and the Decepticons are racing towards trying to revitalize their fallen comrades to gain the most amount of allies, and then obviously eventually kill their enemies with the greater numbers. However, what's really evident to see is that the Decepticons are relentless. They are constantly attacking and bombarding the Autobots every chance they get, to the point there is almost no relief and no escape from the destruction and death that they are bringing and causing. In between those moments of violence and fights, you have these brief windows where the Autobots are actually trying to reflect on everything that they've been going through and trying to find some way to handle and deal with it. Then you have Cliffjumper, aka Cliff, who is going after and seeking revenge for the Decepticon that killed his entire family, similar to Carly and how Carly lost her dad. See, they tie in together, so good! But this is where the true talent of the story really picks up, through the Decepticons and the villains and how big of a conflict and how vile they are to not only the Autobots and the humans, but to themselves as well. There's this moment in the story where in order to revitalize some of their fallen comrades, they sacrifice one of their own robots in order to do so. And they depict it like savage animals ripping apart their meal with no remorse and no guilt whatsoever. To them, it is just a methodical tactical advantage in order to recruit more allies for their cause. And that depiction of these characters really makes it feel like they are a violent, abhorrent force that does not care for life. They only go to seek power. And so they've taken an action, adventure, whimsical tale and filled it with misery and torment and abhorrent violence.
Until next time, legends.
This is a story that has been filled with genuine character development, and it builds on the relationships of the characters that are all going through the same level of grief and struggle as one another. It genuinely wants to explore what this idea would be like to be at war with your own people for over 100 years. And with the reputation of DC and Marvel kind of floundering online as it seems to be, I really do appreciate that we're getting more of a push into the independent comic book scene, and this set of characters are really helping with that push. This is by far one of the best volumes that have come out this year. I'm aware that the story actually came out last year, but the volume wasn't released until early this year, and my god, I'm so happy that it was, because it is by far going to be, at least for me, one of my comic books of the year in a big way. But if you have checked it out, do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Let me know in the comments below, and as always guys, love what you do, take care of yourselves, and have a great day. Alright, peace.